This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 508 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by EquestrianCollections.com. Hi, Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from Dr. Wendy Ying. Dr. Wendy Ying is the host of the driving radio show here on the Horse Radio Network, as well as one of the few female competition four-in-hand drivers in the world. Plus, she is a veterinarian that practices traditional Chinese medicine. Today's tip is the third in a 7-part series about the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. Today, fire.
Well, now we're going to get to a segment that apparently everybody's gotten a kick out of so far because they want to know what they are. And we're talking about the 5 elements of traditional Chinese medicine, and this is Wendy's traditional Chinese medicine segment. So give us just a real quick review of where we've been and then what we're talking about today.
Okay, so the 5 elements, the 5-element theory is the ancient Chinese way of looking at the universe, and you break it up into 5 different elements. The elements are wood, water, earth, metal, and water. Oh, sorry. Wood, fire, earth, water, and metal.
Okay.
So, Glenn, I think, last week we talked about the wood element.
Right. And if people missed that, they can still go back and take a listen to it at drivingradioshow.com.
Right. And Glenn, you're going to love this because we're talking about the fire element this week. And you are fire because this is actually how we, I think the second time we met, you were asking me about the elements. And you and Jamie, we decided on the morning show that you guys were both fires. And fires actually are the most fun. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Fires are like the divas, you know, and they're like, fires are joyful and they're exciting and when they walk into a party, they're like the center of attention. People want to be with them. And the fire element controls the heart and the mind, also the circulation. But for our purposes, we're talking about personalities. So a balanced fire is like fun, outgoing. They're usually like actors or celebrities but an unbalanced fire can have trouble like regulating their temperature, but they can also be like manic depressive people. So they're like super happy all the time and then they totally crash.
Well, and that kind of fits that personality though, because I mean, look, you're talking about very outgoing people whose emotions run hugely and they're going to run in both directions.
Right.
You're going to be on a high or you're going to be really high or really low. That's the kind of people they are, right?
Exactly. And what happens is they get like totally high about, high on life. And then their energy just gets zapped and then they just start having a big crash, or they may become disillusioned about something because they never think of they're always looking on the bright side. So then when the downside of something appears, they were not ready for it. And so when we think about this personality in our animals, we have to remember that, say, Glenn, you're a fire. Well, when you have a stumbling block come in your life, you can think about it and rationalize it and tell yourself how it's not so bad. But animals, they can't really do that. So it's like really devastating to a fire animal when they're disillusioned with their person or their lifestyle. So like a fire horse, you have to be really careful because say you're having a really bad day at work or whatever. Well, that fire horse, every time he sees you, is like happy, loves you, and like expects you to be exactly like that, happy and loving you back. So their feelings can be hurt really badly if you, kind of not take out your anger on them, but if you're not the same person or maybe a little unfair because of certain situations.
I know when you were on the Stable Scoop show with us, you determined that Helena is a fire, and she also has a horse. She has a half standard bred or half saddlebred, half Arab, who is high as a kite. And you determined that her horse was a fire too. So there you had there you have two fires. You have the owner, the rider, who's a fire, and the horse who's a fire. And you were like, oh, that's not going to work. Well, it doesn't work very well, actually, in her case.
But you know what I think? I think her horse was a water, and the waters are really fearful. So they need somebody to be responsible and pay attention.
Oh, and the fire is not.
And that's like disaster. Because there's also an Arab. So, but just by the nature of its breed, it's a little bit flighty.
Now,
so
if we're talking about breeds, which I try and get you to sort of generalize and you won't do, but I'll try it again.
I don't?
Well, you're hesitant to do it because there are personalities in every breed that are different.
Yeah, that's true.
But if there is a breed that you would say represents the fire the best, what would it be?
The fire the best, probably either the saddlebred or the Arab. The Arabs tend to be fire or water.
Yep.
Because they're
so
pretty.
In there. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, no. Hackney is great. That's a really great one.
Because they're show-offs.
They're show-offs.
Yeah.
Divas. I call them the Erica Kane of the horse world. They're like, the world revolves around them. They need people to be brushing them and look pretty.
World.
Exactly.
Without the sex tapes?
Without the sex tapes. And they have, like when I drive my four-in-hand, I have one in there that's a fire. And I always say those, like the other ones, are just his My Pretty Pony accessories to make him look good. And that's how he views his life. I'm there to serve him and to take him places so that people can tell him how pretty he is.
So what personality, in other words, which of the elements as a person, as the owner, would do best with a fire horse?
Well, okay, so remember I said the fire sometimes get like totally out of control. Right. They're never thinking about the consequences of their actions. If you were like exactly Paris Hilton, like you're saying, well, those people always get into trouble because they party nonstop. They don't have anybody to give them any rules, and then they end up in jail or at rehab.
Right.
So with a horse like that,
comes to mind also.
Exactly. So fires need somebody to help them with rules without bringing them down. For example, like David was saying, he loves the spirit of his horses. He doesn't want to break their spirit. Fire spirit can be broken really easily because they can get their feelings hurt if you're always a downer. So a fire does really well with a wood because the wood is like, look, let's focus here. Let's stay on target. Or they can do really good with a metal, who the metal has like a certain set of rules, and it's very difficult to break out of those rules.
Well, it's interesting that you said that Jamie and I are both fires because we do the morning show together, and that show's becoming pretty popular, and we have fun doing it with each other. Is it common for two fires to do well together, or will you have problems if you have two fires together?
No, two fires together are fun. That is like a great party. I love listening to the morning show. I love listening to you and Jamie together. But, we all know in the background there's Jennifer, right?
Who actually runs the thing and keeps us straight.
Yeah, because if you didn't have Jennifer saying, okay, let's tone it down a little, stay on target.
Stay on time.
Yeah, because you just go on and on. You could never get off of the intro if it was just two fires.
Sure, that's why you need a good producer.
Yeah, right. but then if she was like a real whip cracker, always bringing you down all the time, you'd be like, you know what? This show isn't fun anymore. I'm not doing it.
Right, and we would.
And yeah. So a fire horse can get like that. Like, you know what? I'm really sick and tired of you raining on my parade. I'm just not doing it anymore.
And then they get stubborn and belligerent, and
yeah. And they're like, forget it.
So what's the word? What's the Chinese word?
Oh yeah, the Chinese word for fire is, and I'm very bad at pronouncing Chinese words, but it's ho, and it's Huo, ho, and that's your Chinese word of the day. That's in Mandarin.
Now, and what did your family speak?
My father spoke Cantonese. But my grandmother, I can't remember. She speaks some crazy dialect from the north, but she also speaks Mandarin and Cantonese.
Well, now I come from the Canadian French side with a very French-sounding name, And my mother and my grandmother and several of my grandmothers, they all used to speak French together, but yet I don't remember a word of it. Can you speak Chinese or?
No, I can't speak it at all. I'm trying to learn it. I have this rapid Mandarin on tape thing that I'm trying to learn.
I don't know if you can learn Chinese rapidly, can you?
No, it's great. I can, look, I'm not going to tell you now what I can say because you're going to try to make me say it. But so far, the only thing I've learned to say is, can I have a beer?
Well, there you go. Thanks, Wendy and Glenn the Geek. To listen to all of Wendy's tips, just go over to horsetipdaily.com and hit up the experts drop-down menu on the left. All of our experts are right there, alphabetized and easy to find, and Glenn the Geek is there as well. You can also go to www.sportcobb.com and see what Wendy's up to on her website. Please stop by the Horse Tip Daily Facebook page and let us know what you think of the tips you hear on the show. It's also a great place to tell us about topics you'd like to hear us cover. You can subscribe to all of the great shows on the Horse Radio Network through iTunes or Zune and get your horse podcasts automatically downloaded to your iPod, Zune, or MP3 player. I'll be back again tomorrow with another new expert and a different horse tip. Until then, go ride your horse! The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.